Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with another one of our Wargaming in miniature videos. And in this video, we're going to do one of the artillery battle pods, but it's not the one with the missiles. It's the one with the large cannons. I don't know if you can see this, if it's focused or whatever, but that's the one we're doing right there. We're going to do the, what do they call this? Telnesta Regult squad. I'm just going to do one, and you get the idea. This is the instruction page. Right there, and you can kind of see the different parts. Now this instruction page actually shows you how to do the heavy artillery, the light artillery, and also the Telnesta, because you see it's got the large artillery, the heavy artillery here, the medium or small artillery there, and then the Telnestas. You've seen me put together a million battle pods before. Well, maybe not a million, but you've seen you've seen me put some battle pods together before. And I'm using extreme power thick super glue. It's not gel, but it's just thick. I've already cut out the pieces with my sprue cutter, and I've also taken the time to trim off all the excessive flash lines or any of the sprue nubs. Basically, I've trimmed it down. Now let's go ahead and zoom this in just a little bit so you can see me do the assembly. Okay, the first thing I like to start with is, of course, the torso. I've always liked to start with the torso. And on this torso, you can see it's the same as all the others. It's got the two holes. And what I do is I just put a very light bead around the entire backside of the torso. This helps seal it and conceal any holes. Now before I assemble this, I make sure that I take the back part and I tuck it under this disc here, and then I just fit it together. Oh, this one fits together very nicely. Okay, and normally what I would do is hold it for about 20 seconds. Right, now that that's been held and for about 20 seconds, I set that off to the side to allow it to continue to dry. While I'm doing that, I go ahead and take the lower torso, which are these two pieces right here, and I glue them together. And they have the same type of an assembly. There's a peg with it's kind of like teardrop shaped, and then it would go into this hole which is crescent shaped, so you get like the peg goes in the middle and then the teardrop portion of it goes out the hole. I don't know if that makes sense. But because it's right in the center of the model, in the center of these two halves, you've got to make adjustments on how they stick together, aligning up the outside edges so that you get flush outside edge, so it doesn't appear to be. So it removes all the sprue lines and the joining lines. That's what I was trying to say. Okay, so you just got to make sure you pivot it until it fits just right, and then hold and squeeze for about 20 seconds. Okay, so we got our upper torso and we got our hip joint, and now we're going to put those two together. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put them together as close to straight a line down the center line as possible. Now on the bottom of your center torso or upper torso, you have a little grooved hole there, and then on the top of your hip joint you also have a little peg. So that peg's going to go inside that hole. But first, let's make sure we put a little bit of glue on there so that when we do put this on, now this has like a ridged line, and according to the instructions, that goes to the rear. Okay, so the smooth part goes to the front. Okay, it looks like it's perfectly in place. I'm just going to set that down. We're going to let that dry for a minute or so because everything is based on this hip joint because the legs need to go on the hip joint. Okay, so we'll give it about a minute. Okay, now while that's drying, what we're going to do is we're going to take our two legs, all right, and we're going to glue the feet, or the feet to them. And so what we do is we just find a good, because these have pegs on them, these have holes, and the feet are kind of canted like this. So we put the wide section of the foot to the front and the narrow to the right, to the back. Okay, so I'm going to apply a little bit of glue to our right foot. I'm going to take the right leg and apply it inside. Just set it off to the side to dry. Now we'll take the left foot, put a little glue on it. I'm going to take our left leg, and because there's a snug fit on this one, what I'm going to do, it keeps wanting to kind of pop out, the pressure, I guess, or something. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold it into place so it'll dry where I want it. We'll hold that for about 20 or 30 seconds. Okay, so we'll set the legs off to the side just a moment. Coming back to the torso, what we're going to do is we're going to put the two left and right, I'm going to call them arms, but really they're not arms. I don't know what they are. These go on very simply. There's just a flat area and a disc. And when you put them on, you want to make sure the little vent on the arm is facing downward towards the legs. I don't know if that's part of its jump jets or ventilation for lasers. I don't know. I'm heavy into Robotech, but I'm not like into all the technical specs of everything. Okay, so the two arms are definitely glued on the left and right side, and toward the hip joints on there. Okay. Now before I put the lasers on, before I put the lasers on and before I put the top autocannons or whatever they are, probably rail guns, because it's called a Telnesta, I don't know. So we're going to go ahead and put the legs on the torso, and then we're going to make sure we get it mounted onto the base, so it'll make it one solid piece. We'll do one leg at a time. I'm applying glue to both sides. There we go. And then one leg, two legs, squeezing together at the hip. That looks pretty good actually. So I'm just going to squeeze tight and let my glue dry for about 20 seconds when the legs are in the right position. Alright, so I think that's dried. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little bit of glue to the base of the feet. I know a lot of people will use like an Elmer's or a less permanent type of glue onto the base, or so that they can remove their figs. But in some war games, yeah, I'll do that with my pewter figures and stuff like that. But when it comes to plastic models specifically designed for one game system, like this is a model specifically designed for the Robotech RPG Tactics game, I'm not going to rebase it, so I'm going to permanently glue it to the base. There we go. Give that about 30 seconds, and we'll be right back to it. Alright, that's almost dry, I'm sure. And, well, I'm sorry I didn't get this video up on Wednesday like I promised. I said I was going to do a video every, at least one video every Wednesday. I think I've overcommitted, not overcommitted, but provided. I've already provided a bunch of videos 2 or 3 times a week, so I think that was pretty good. But this last week or so, I've been under the weather so bad. It's been really hard for me to get out of bed or even do anything. So basically, I'm sorry, I've been sick. So I hope this makes up for it. Now, instead of putting the Top Gun on, which I was just now thinking of doing, yeah, let's put the Top Gun rack on. Okay, there's the two guns that go on the top. They are, I could probably look and find out exactly what kind of guns they have on the card. This might be the charged particle cannons. I'd have to compare them to like a regular Regult. Here we go. Regular Regult already has the autocannons and the heavy particle cannons, but it doesn't have the dual charged particle cannons. Okay, so these must be dual charged particle cannons. Cool. It comes with a special, saying all that, it comes with a special mount that goes on the top to mount your charged particle cannons. And that would normally mount right there. The ball is bigger than the hole. Okay, if I... Nope, doesn't want to fit right. Okay, got to do the little bit of trim around the edge because it looks like it's maybe the flash is causing it to rock. And I don't want my models to rock or any of the parts on the models to rock. I want them to lay flush against the part I'm gluing them to, because that improves the seal and you're not relying on the strength of the glue. You can rely on the connection between the pieces. Oh yeah, 100% better. So what we do is we're going to apply some glue around the portion of the model that is supposed to have this rack. Apply the rack in place. Whoop, just snapped and stopped, and I don't even have to hold it, but I'm going to. I'm just going to leave it right there. Just let that just let that dry. Okay, so while that's drying, we got the other two. We got the two autocannons and the two particle cannons. No, they're not particle cannons. Two autocannons and two heavy particle cannons. So these little things here must be the autocannons that you can't see. These little balls here must be the autocannons, and these must be the particle cannons. And this must be the dual charged particle cannons. Okay, so while that's all drying, I'm holding it gently, but we're going to do the particle cannons right there in the front face of the Regult. And remember, you can position these in any position. Because they're articulated, they normally would be able to move around and shoot at various targets. So putting them in different unique positions will make each model different and unique. Now the next one is these little bitty autocannons that go right here in the chin. Just put a drop of glue in each one. And again, when you put these guns on, you want the guns to be closer to the center of the body, center line, and let the balls go on the outside. Okay, so let that all dry just for a couple of moments before we go with the last piece, the dual charged particle cannons. All right, now the last piece is the charged particle cannon. It looks like, if you look closely on this model, right here, I don't know if you can see that, but right there, there's a small little flat spot that if you weren't looking close enough, you wouldn't see that. also on these particle cannons, you've got grooves here and you don't have them on the other side. So should the flat part go down with the grooves down, I'm going to take a look at the picture. Yep, looks like the grooves go down. So what I'm going to do is, eventually, when I get there, glue this right on top of there. Make sure everything fits the way it's supposed to before I apply any glue. Yeah, it looks like it's going to fit pretty good. So we apply the glue. And then we apply the particle cannons, or canons, or however you want to pronounce it. Okay, it looks like it's going to fit right about there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it for about a minute, and I'll be right back. All right, and that's what you get. You get a Regult with these two additional charged particle cannons on the top there. I don't know if you can see it better that way. You know, and give you a close-up. I'm not sure if that's focusing very well for you. That's it. All right, and we'll do as we always do. We're going to compare them to some of our other battle pods. Like here's our regular battle pod. It's basically the same thing. Well, I just nudged that, didn't I? Okay, so it's basically the same thing, but instead of the anti-air lasers, it has the cannons. Put it up against a Glog. You know, it actually stands taller than the Glog. Then you got the Recon one. About the same size. Okay, and then let's go ahead and put it up against the Micronians. Stands head and shoulders over it. There you go. I've got enough of these done that I might start going into the rules in the next bit. But right now we're going to continue to work on putting these together and assembling them. And as soon as I feel like I've got enough, we'll go ahead and do the rules. All right, well that was the Telnesta Regult for the Zentradi. And this was Wargaming in Miniature, and I'll see you next time.